You're listening to Catholic Chicago. Ahead, the Archdiocese of Chicago brings you programs about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Good morning. Welcome to Catholic Chicago on WNDZ 750 AM, 312-255-8408, 312-255-8408. And you can also get us on youtube.com/Catholic Chicago, youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. Father Greg Sakowitz, the rector of the Cathedral of Holy Name, and co-host Mark Teresi, executive director of Holy Name Cathedral. Good morning, Mark. And what we heard in the background is a prelude for an excellent program today about the beautiful stained glass windows at St. Mary of the Woods, Edgebrook, Wildwood, Chicago. But how are you doing, Mark?
Doing well. We have a special guest in the studio, which we're
live,
thrilled about.
Live, not dead.
Yes.
Live in the studio here. And so this is going to be a wonderful program. I think we're going to hop right into it because we see Father Rich Jakubik on the screen here. Again, you can get us at 312-255-8408. But this will be a very visual program today, so maybe flip to youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. And the mini-series, the Marian Stained Glass Windows, highlights the beautiful windows seen in St. Mary of the Woods Parish in Chicago. Each window features the Blessed Virgin Mary and were all designed by the world-renowned stained glass artist Max Ingrid. This French-born artist has displayed his work all over the world, including Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. However, only a handful of his windows are located in the United States. St. Mary of the Woods is fortunate enough to have some of these amazing works of art. And with us in studio, Father Rich Jakubik, pastor of St. Mary of the Woods in Chicago. Also going to join us live stream, Clint Cottrell, who's also on staff here for the Office of Radio and Television, and Michael Joels. So Father Rich and Clint and Michael, welcome to the program this morning. Good morning, gentlemen.
Great to be here.
Now, I have to back up. Father Rich Jakubik and I go back to 1986 or early 87. He had just finished his second year in college, or in second year college. I was the vocation director at Niles College Seminary of Loyola University, and this young 20-year-old came to see me to join the college seminary. So, Rich, you were about 20. I was 33 years old. You entered in 1987 in August, graduated in 89,
yes,
2 years later.
Exactly.
And ordained to the priesthood in 1993.
Well,
welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Yes,
so welcome. Great to be here.
And Rich is one of the very finest priests we have in the Archdiocese. Even as a seminarian, remember, Mark, we were on the faculty together.
Yeah, I will always. You'll always be 21 to me, because that's when I knew you as dean of students at the college seminary.
Now, did Father Rich pay his dues or his?
There's a few
fines?
fines that are outstanding. I'll get them after the program.
Probably some parking fines.
Yes, exactly. I did not tow your car.
Right.
And also then with Clint Cottrell, I just met Clint. Mark and I both met him just earlier this week. He's brand new as part of the team with Michael May and with Brian Brock and with Vince Girasoli. And so, Clint, welcome to the program, and also the fact that you are new on board. Clint, what is your background?
My background is in TV news. I spent about 20 years doing the news grind, and that's basically how I came into the TV business. So that's where I've been. The church business is relatively new to me. It's only been in the last several years, but I'm having a great time, and I'm very fortunate and very lucky to have discovered it.
Was your television background here in Chicago?
Yes, sir. I started. I was actually with CBS News. I was with CBS News for about 15 years in the network level and about 2 years in the local level, and then also spent a couple of years doing various other television gigs. But on about August of 21, I got involved with St. Mary of the Woods, and I haven't looked back since.
And how about what's your background, Michael?
I'm sorry?
Your background.
I've been in film production pretty much since high school, but then it would go as far back as I formally started in film production in 2010. I was in film school, left it because I figured I could spend that amount of money funding my own films, and that's when I originally went. And then since then, I've been, one job after the next, one production after the other.
Are you from Chicago?
Yes.
What high school?
Northridge Preparatory School, which is in Niles next to Golf Mill.
Oh, sure. Then where were you raised if you were in that area?
I'm sorry?
Where are you from then? Are you from Niles? Are you from Park Ridge? Are you from Des
The
Plaines?
Skokie area.
Oh, sure. I was born and raised in Park Ridge. So
Okay.
I was down the street at Notre Dame College Prep, but I'm much, much older than you. And as a way to get into the program is I spent 18 fabulous years as the associate pastor for 13 and a half years as pastor at St. Mary of the Woods. Mark Tracy was also part of the staff
7
in terms
years.
of choir director for Contemporary Choir. 18 phenomenal years. Love the people, love the community. And I always would walk into the church, and of course the stained glass windows are key to the community setting within the church itself. So who had this marvelous idea to create this incredible project? Somebody can take it. Rich, Michael, or Clint?
Yeah, I it's hard to remember where we were 2.5 years ago or so, but I think it was a collaborative idea. I believe Michael Joels kind of had this idea of doing a series to celebrate the beauty of our parish. And I think I was very quick to jump on board and say, what a great idea, especially as we're coming out of the pandemic and people missed the beauty of coming to church for so long. And it was, I thought, a great way to celebrate all of us returning back to church and returning to such a wonderful faith-based community.
Maybe I'd ask each of you, what did you notice about the windows that really compelled you to move in this direction? Maybe each of you, there's one that stood out, just the beauty of them all.
Now, Michael, I want you to answer that question first from Mark, but I'm going to ask you a question that'll lead then into Mark's question is, what made you even have the idea? You came into the church at St. Mary of the Woods, you saw these gorgeous stained glass windows, and maybe then dovetailing with Mark's question is, what gave you this idea to then go to Rich to create this incredible project? You take it from there, Michael.
Okay. So the conversation started in April of 2021, was to do a bunch of videos about the parish. So a video about the men's club, a video about the women's club, a video about the parish history, going into the area, the Edgebrook neighborhood, the Sauganash neighborhood, Chief Sauganash, Billy Caldwell, et cetera, et cetera. And in the process of doing those videos, it was kind of a given that, and we should do a video about that, and we should do about the 5 Marian, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, the 8 windows. We should do something on all those. So it was just a presumption that we would do something like that, because churches in the medieval times, they were teaching devices. They were intended to teach illiterate people about the faith. And you have a church that is devoted, surprisingly, to themes of Marian devotions and even Marian, primarily Marian apparitions, even though there are 2 paintings. But that seemed to be something that would be fantastic to draw out from. And to sort of highlight that concept, I'm kind of jumping ahead, but I think I'll put it in perspective like this. A year ago, when we were doing, when there was the 1-month anniversary of the start of the Russia-Ukraine war, and Pope Francis did the consecration, he asked all the parishes to get involved with, to do the consecration prayer with him. The day before, someone brought up, well, do the kids really know, or do they understand? And I said, okay. And so there was like a 7th grader nearby, and I said, hey, see that Mary over there? Yeah. Which Mary is that? Mary of, which one? Mary of Magdalena? No, I don't think so. It was Our Lady of Fatima. So it showed.
How about
that,
sports for 500?
Yeah.
There's a distance of knowing what these windows represent, knowing what artwork represents in general with in relationship to the Catholic faith.
That is terrific. And how about for you, Clint?
Well, you know what really interests me about this project is I came in a little bit later than Michael and Father Richard got on board. I wasn't involved until later on that year, and they'd only shot one particular window. And at the time when I started working for St. Mary of the Woods, I really just got on board just to help Michael and Father Rich with the streaming of the masses. And then as this project began to develop, and we realized how much was involved, Michael's like, do you want to help us with this this window series? Michael and I had worked together for many, many years. We've done projects before. We did a documentary on St. Joseph Wilmette about 10 years ago. So we're familiar with each other's work. We work really, really well together. And I was like, I agreed wholeheartedly. And I said, yes, absolutely. And I'm glad I did. But to go back to your question, really, I think what makes this project very, very interesting is that it's the fact that it shows apparitions of the Blessed Mary. That aside, you don't even have to be Catholic to really appreciate this project, because the fact that this artist Max Ingren was involved in these windows is very, very rare. Very rare. He only has a handful of his works in the United States, and I don't think a lot of people realize that St. Mary of the Woods is very fortunate and very lucky enough to have these windows. And if you're an art lover or stained glass, into stained glass, you know who Max Ingren is. If you Google stained glass windows or stained glass art pieces of art, Max Ingren's name is literally gonna be on top of the Google search. I guarantee it. So the fact that St. Mary of the Woods is actually lucky enough to have these windows is very, very rare and a real special treat. And we were using this documentary to help make light of that and show people that this little parish on the northwest side of Chicago is museum, and it has these pieces of art that people outside of that neighborhood may not even be aware of.
That's fantastic. What we're going to do is, Mark, we're going to hold on Father Rich answering your question, but take us to break.
Yeah, WNDZ 750 AM, Catholic Chicago, 312-255-8408. You can go to youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. We'll be back in a few minutes. Please stay tuned.
adults make all the difference in the lives of adolescents. Catholic Charities understands this, and our mentorship programs provide a free opportunity for young adults to spend time with volunteers who genuinely care about them. This program is ideal for youth aged 9 through 12 who may need support navigating the challenges of childhood and early adolescence. Our amazing volunteers serve as friends who help youth recognize their strengths and empower them to reach their full potential. Catholic Charities conducts a thorough background check on every volunteer, and our program coordinator closely monitors and supports every relationship. Mentoring is a fun after-school program that can help young adults build confidence and enjoy fun activities with their peers, too. To learn more, visit CatholicCharities.net or call 312-655-7970 in Cook County and 847-782-4224 in Lake County. We're connecting youth with great role models. Join us today.
Folks, you probably know that on March 13th, we celebrate the 10th anniversary of the election of Pope Francis as the Bishop of Rome. Ever since his election, he has asked the people of God to pray for him. And so we are joining in an effort asking Catholics on March 13th to say 10 Hail Marys for him. You can learn more about this and register your name at archchicago.org. I encourage all of you to participate in this support of the Holy Father as he celebrates a decade of service to the people of God.
For more than 20 years, Catholic Charities Adult Protective Services has been advocating for seniors who are the victims of abuse, neglect, confinement, or financial exploitation. With our partners at local, city, and state agencies, our trained case managers follow through on every concern that is brought to our attention in a cooperative way to ensure that our seniors are safe and protected. According to the Illinois Department on Aging, last year nearly 21,000 cases of elder abuse were reported in Illinois. Of these, only 5% were reported by seniors themselves. So raising awareness is an important part of this issue. If you are concerned about a senior you know, call 800-252-8966. That's 800-252-8966. With your help, we can stop elder abuse and look out for the seniors in our lives.
In the medieval period, the artwork in churches was intended to teach and explain the faith to the people. In keeping with that tradition, we brought together a variety of experts with insight about these 8 Marian stained glass windows.
I think the very interesting thing about our series, and it'll be really helpful for people, that although we did film the stained glass windows in small, we've traveled almost to every location that we could to match the stained glass window with the church. Like right now, we're outside of Our Lady of Sorrows Basilica, and we do have a stained glass window to match in small.
The symbol of red, the symbol of sorrow, of pain, of suffering, is very apropos. Our statue here is in traditional Mary blue, but the two things that distinguish them, in our statue we just have a sword piercing her heart, and then in later years Mary has the image of 7 swords, which designates the 7 sorrows of Mary.
We actually traveled not only in Chicago area, we were able to film some churches in Lincoln, Nebraska, and San Francisco, California.
We're back, WNDZ 750 AM, Catholic Chicago, 312-255-8408. And you go to youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. Father Rich, the question I had before the break, do any of the windows stand out to you, and why? I mean, they're beautiful artistic pieces, but they're supposed to inspire our faith too.
Absolutely. You know, when I look at the windows, I am able to recall, too, taking pilgrimages to some of those holy places, to Lourdes and to Czestochowa. I have a trip in the fall planned to Portugal and intend to visit Fatima. So
I've been to Soldier Field.
Ba-dum-bum.
That's sacred to many people.
Yes.
But sometimes, I'm a little more familiar with the history behind, the apparitions, and it just speaks to me so much of God's love for His people, and I feel again it's a parish that's really alive with this deep understanding of what it means to be committed to each other as a community. We have a large population of young families and children. And I think people are just so proud to want to teach their young people about their faith and to have the best experience of Catholicism as they can.
Now, it's very fascinating there would be times in which, depending on the angle of the sun, and Richard, I'm sure you've seen this, but especially when the sun was in the west, and on that one wall with the stained glass windows, the sun would illuminate, and it'd be a piercing, incredible bright light coming through the windows. I would just stare at it. It was so powerful. Of course, at nighttime, you don't see anything because there's dark from the outside, dark on the inside. But the certain angles of the sun would come around on those stained glass windows during the day, especially in summer. It was almost breathtaking. And I'm sure you've seen it at different times with people in the church or when you walk in the church and it's empty. But it's just phenomenal. And getting back then for just maybe to Michael is, so you had this idea with a few other people, and then was the original intention to do all 8 Marian windows, or were you doing this one window at a time?
The intention was always to do all 8, and it ended up becoming a 9-part series just because by the time we finished, we didn't do our due diligence and look up who Max Ingrid was, and then went, we need one more episode. But the intention was always to do all 8. And they were, obviously they were done one at a time. In some cases, if we were lucky, we were able to film 2 on one day. And that was for myself personally, of every production I've done, one of the most challenging aspects of this was being in pre-production, concept, and beyond post-production simultaneously, because you're doing them at different points. So we had Our Lady of Guadalupe and Our Lady of Lourdes finished before we had even started on Our Lady of Knock. So it took a long period of time to do with other video responsibilities at the parish or schedule. Like, for example, Bishop Mark Bartosik does Our Lady of Perpetual Help. He said, yes, in May, I'm available in late July. Okay, that's great. That's what took it a while. But no, they were done one at a time. And there is one of the things I like about it, there's no order to this series. Yes, there's playlists on YouTube, but they're only put in alphabetical order. There's no beginning, middle, or end. And the hope is that someone who has no familiarity with St. Mary of the Woods, not even familiar with the Chicagoland area, is looking for information on, say, Our Lady of Sorrows or Our Lady of Perpetual Help. And they end up finding this video. Oh, this is done really well. And they learn something from it. Again, this is a teaching mini-series. It's meant for education.
Now, I went online to watch some of it. Extremely well done. Now, Rich, did you have a parish event to premiere? How was it? Because it's on, it's a video, but the parish should be proud of this. Have you done anything in terms of that?
We have. We had a few private screenings for our students in the school, and I believe our religious ed kids. And then we had one that was just for the whole parish to come out, and so we hosted that with popcorn and refreshments and everything, and just got, again, wonderful feedback.
What kind of feedback did you get from folks? I mean, if Greg hadn't really known the history, longtime parishioners probably didn't. Did you get any good?
Absolutely. I think it was very emotional for many people who've been in that parish for 30, 40, 50 years and really knew the origins of the parish. And we're just so proud that someone took the time to put this together. And one gentleman said, to me, Father Rich, you'll be remembered for this one thing that you've done here at St. Mary of the Woods. And I thought, well, thank you. I hope I'm remembered for other things too, but I appreciate it. But I think what he was communicating was that this was so meaningful. And yeah.
Question for Clint along those lines from Rich, and that is, I know the parish started back in 1952 and was Monsignor Daniel O'Rourke. These windows go in 1966. Now, this is really a tough question, and I don't have the answer. I always asked myself, okay, how did these windows get there? And I knew about the name Max Ingram, but not too much more than that. Do you, Clint, have any idea how Monsignor O'Rourke was able to get these stained glass windows into St. Mary of the Woods? Because remember, it was built started in 52. I think church was completed in 53 or 54. We're talking 12 years later. I just don't know the history of all the churches in this country. How did these windows end up in a little community called Edgebrook on the northwest side of Chicago? I know that's a tough question.
It is a tough question because and I may have to pivot to my co-producer on this one as well, because we don't have a lot of documentation of those windows actually even being installed in the parish. I mean, we looked at our archives to see if we could have some type of photographs or something that you actually see the windows installed, and they just do not exist. Very few photos exist on that. But maybe Michael might be able to add a little bit more on that. Michael, do you have anything to add on this one?
I do have an answer to that question. So first and foremost, with what Clint said about yes, there are no photographs of it being installed. In fact, there was one photo of them of the things hollowed out that we found after the fact. That's one of the processes of making of a production like this, is you learn stuff along the way. But to answer the question, the church originally was, and I don't know the exact size, and then they wanted to expand it and make it larger. The architect of the original church and school facade, his name was John Vosen. We spoke with his daughter in the process of doing the final video on Max Ingram. And as she explained, that her father had connections to artists all over Europe at different studios across Europe, let's just call it. I don't know what countries. And the concept of when they wanted to expand it, we don't, again, was the chicken first or the egg first? This we don't know, but somewhere along the line, he pitched it to Max Ingram, and between the two of them, and what makes most sense is that Max Ingram came around and said, okay, well, what if you did this with the windows? And that would have been in 64 or 65, because they were not installed until 66. But so it came from a joint decision between the architect John Vosen and Max Ingram.
Now I'll give it one step further. In 1965, Monsignor O'Rourke, on his own, there was no parish council in those days. The pastor made the decision, we're going to do it. The original altar was where the organ is at that end of the church.
Oh, okay.
And so it was a typical church in which the altar at one end and the pews going all the way back to the other side. In 64, 65, he made the decision, I want the altar in the middle, which is incredible, ingenious, because it's a sense of community. Even in St. Mary of the Woods, there's great sight lines to the altar from every angle in the church. Well, on his own, he said, I want this in the middle. There was no discussion of people. You know, in those days, the pastor wanted it, you did it. And so went to the middle. Then it would make sense that a year later, the stained glass windows in 66 now go in as a backdrop behind the altar and to the altar's left along the parking lot side there. So you start putting the pieces together, but that was a great piece of history, both from Clint and from Michael. I think we're going to go to break here. Now, this is fascinating.
Keep going.
And I know that Father Rich Jakubik will stay for the last half hour. Am I correct, Rich? You
Yes.
Don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But we're going to lose Clint Cottrell and Michael Joel. So Michael and Clint, thank you for this half hour. It's been enlightening. I've loved the history. Mark, I was there 18 years. I'm learning stuff today I never knew. So just phenomenal. So you're listening to Catholic Chicago and WNDZ. We also want to thank in a special way Michael Joels and Clint Cottrell. Now, Clint, you're not leaving because you work here, and you're down the hall. And Richard Kubik is going to stay, and you're listening to Catholic Chicago and WNDZ, 750 AM, 312-255-840. Also get us on YouTube.com/Catholic Chicago. Stay with us. And again, do not touch that dial.
Catholic Charities' Family Self-Sufficiency Program has assisted thousands of single parents who are working to become more self-sufficient through education and employment opportunities. Our experienced case managers accompany participants for up to 5 years on their journey to identify, address, and break down barriers to improving their quality of life and achieving meaningful goals for themselves and for their families. Professional, compassionate assistance is offered in a safe and trusting environment as participants develop the skills needed to become financially stable and able to support themselves. Every achievement starts with a decision to try. To learn more about Catholic Charities' Family Self-Sufficiency Program, call 847-782-4233 or visit CatholicCharities.net.
Community is core to Catholic Charities' founding mission. For more than 100 years, we have met people and families where they are, serving anyone in need, regardless of their faith, gender, race, or ethnicity. As our world absorbs the economic, political, and social aftershocks of the pandemic, 50% or more of the 6 million people living in Cook and Lake counties have little or no savings. They are a paycheck away from zero. We are deeply grateful to everyone in the Catholic Charities community who partners with us to alleviate the suffering of the people we serve and offer them a better path forward. We are witnessing a message of mercy and hope to a world very much in need. Learn more at CatholicCharities.net.
For more than 20 years, Catholic Charities Adult Protective Services has been advocating for seniors who are the victims of abuse, neglect, confinement, or financial exploitation. With our partners at local, city, and state agencies, our trained case managers follow through on every concern that is brought to our attention in a cooperative way to ensure that our seniors are safe and protected. According to the Illinois Department on Aging, last year nearly 21,000 cases of elder abuse were reported in Illinois. Of these, only 5% were reported by seniors themselves. So raising awareness is an important part of this issue. If you are concerned about a senior you know, call 800-252-8966. That's 800-252-8966. With your help, we can stop elder abuse and look out for the seniors in our lives.
The cemetery ministry is a core ministry of our Catholic faith tied to the corporal works of mercy. It's comforting to know that our Catholic cemeteries are caring for the remains of our loved ones awaiting the resurrection. There are 44 Archdiocese of Chicago Catholic cemeteries willing to help you in your time of loss. Call 708-449-6100 or visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org. Catholic Cemeteries, serving the Catholic community since 1837.
You're listening to Catholic Chicago. Ahead, the Archdiocese of Chicago brings you programs about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Thanks for letting us be part of your morning. Now again, Catholic Chicago.
As we
Welcome back to Catholic Chicago on WNDZ 750 AM, 312-255-8408. Also get us at youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. Father Greg Zakowicz, Mark Teresi. Also join us back this last half hour is Father Rich Jakubek, the pastor of St. Mary of the Woods in Chicago, but known as Edgebrook area, Wildwood area. And joining us this half hour, Jesse Healy, Carrie Elko, and Anthony Tony Kolakowski. Good morning to all three of you. How are you? Are you with us? Good morning. Are you there, Tony?
I'm here, Father Greg. Good to see you.
Oh, I go back with Tony 31 years. We met back in the summer of 1992, and you play a phenomenal violin.
Oh, yes.
You know, because that's where I first met Tony with Marian Eichhorn in the choir and playing the violin. And now we also have, where's Jesse and where is Carrie? Are they with us?
I'm Jesse.
Hello, Jesse. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good, thanks. And Jesse, what is your background? Are you from Chicago?
Yes. Born in Chicago, grew up in Niles at St. John Brebeuf, actually, where that's how we got Father Shemek to come on for the interview. We needed a Polish priest to talk about Our Lady of Czestochowa, so I reached out to Father Shemek. You know, who knows better.
Now, Jesse, where'd you go to high school?
I actually went to Niles West.
Okay, what class were you?
I graduated 2013.
Oh gosh, I got socks older than you. And it, my gosh, and I was at Notre Dame Niles College Prep down the street there, and and are you there, Jesse? I mean, not Jesse, but Carrie.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, good.
And Carrie, where are you from originally?
Partyville, Wisconsin.
Wait, time out.
Partyville?
Wait. Are you...
Partyville, not as fun as it sounds.
But now the key question is, Carrie, are you a Packer fan?
I'm a music fan.
Oh my God.
Good answer.
We'll keep Carrie on the program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's great. And now I know, Jesse, you were involved with Tony when it comes to the music for this whole production.
During the production, actually, I did not get a chance to record Tony myself. Most of the actual music recording I was actually not available for, but we had a couple of other guys in mind for being able to come in and record in my absence. So we're very grateful to Brian Huey and our other, people who came in to record the audio when I wasn't available. But once everything came to post and editing everything for the actual video series to the picture, I got to listen back to Tony's recordings, Carrie's recordings, and make sure that, we heard everything that we wanted to hear, and not make sure that they weren't louder than Michael, our voiceover, or our hosts in any of the other episodes of the series.
Now, Tony, you've been involved at Mary of the Woods for years and years, many times. What an honor, like singing a wedding or a funeral with Tony being there. Was this Windows project a surprise for you, or you'd always thought, when are they going to do something about these windows?
Well, I guess I've never thought about when are they going to do something about these windows. I've always appreciated and admired every time I've come to play in the church. I'm always looking at the windows, how beautiful they are. But I just never imagined that there would be a special show made on them. But I'm certainly glad that it has been done, because it is beautiful and deserves to be seen.
Do you have a favorite window?
No, I can't say I do. They're all just beautiful, and I just I look at all of them while I'm here.
Now, Carrie from Partyville, Wisconsin, did you spearhead the music project, Carrie?
No, Michael had asked me, could you record a couple of songs? And I went, all right, let's do this. And I've always wanted to work on a movie or video production doing my music.
That's wonderful.
And what's your background musically? But what songs do they play at Partyville, Wisconsin events? No, I'm kidding.
I have a degree from Northwestern in music education and a master's in trauma and resilience in education. And I am the St. Mary of the Woods music teacher.
Oh.
So I'm in first grade right now to be
Wow.
here.
Now, when did you join the faculty in the school?
2 years ago.
Oh my gosh!
Wonderful.
Oh, sure, that's terrific, and and they got wonderful families there. So, you are the music director in the school.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is
how lucky they are to have you.
They're great, very lucky to have you.
Yeah.
And I know that Tony, all the history that I was there at St. Mary of the Woods, and your violin playing. I know Marian Eichhorn would call upon you often. And I remember you were there for my 40th anniversary. No, I think my 25th. My 25th, not 40th. Makes me
40th was at Cathedral.
100 makes me 110 years old. And so, in working on this project with the music, then are you involved in all 8 segments or all 9 segments in this production?
I'm not playing on all of them. No, I think maybe 4 or 5 of the songs I'm on.
Okay.
And how were they chosen? The songs? Who picked the music? Rich? Were you involved in that?
I was not.
And the thing is that now getting back to Jesse for a moment, and that is, are you when you're working with Michael and with Clint on this whole production? What was your specific role? Were you the editor? Were you the
Yes, I'm the audio editor. So, Michael and Clint have plenty of years and time and projects behind them for all sorts of video editing. I actually graduated from Columbia downtown in 2021 and started at the church right before graduation. And so I had gotten some experience editing student films and stuff in school, and then right into this job. Originally, it was just live streaming the masses during the height of the pandemic. And once this project came along, they were just so happy that we had someone who had experience doing the editing for audio specifically. So, and I was psyched to, right out of college, have a job where I was doing something in the industry that my degree was in.
It's great.
Count your blessings for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, we're going to take a little break. WNDZ 750 AM Catholic Chicago, 312-255-8408. You can go to youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. Maybe when we come back, a lot of this project is about how we see faith in church, using tools, contemporary tools. Maybe we talk a little bit about that, not only with our musical guests, but also with Father Rich in terms of how do you see as pastor this is an important journey that we're on. We'll be back in a few minutes. Please stay tuned.
Caring adults make all the difference in the lives of adolescents. Catholic Charities understands this, and our mentorship programs provide a free opportunity for young adults to spend time with volunteers who genuinely care about them. This program is ideal for youth aged 9 through 12 who may need support navigating the challenges of childhood and early adolescence. Our amazing volunteers serve as friends who help youth recognize their strengths and empower them to reach their full potential. Catholic Charities conducts a thorough background check on every volunteer, and our program coordinator closely monitors and supports every relationship. Mentoring is a fun after-school program that can help young adults build confidence and enjoy fun activities with their peers, too. To learn more, visit CatholicCharities.net or call 312 655 7970 in Cook County and 847 782 4224 in Lake County. We're connecting youth with great role models. Join us today.
People always say, how can you spend your day with 3-year-olds? Seeing the changes that they go through and just the journey and how they grow, this is a very rewarding job. Even though at the end of the day, we're not the highest paid people on earth. And when I have a parent contact me and say, my child loves school, that to me, I'm setting that foundation for their love of learning. Because really, you are changing lives, you are molding lives.
Shape the next generation of leaders. Teach. Apply today at archchicago.org/schooljobs.
Community is core to Catholic Charities' founding mission. For more than 100 years, we have met people and families where they are, serving anyone in need, regardless of their faith, gender, race, or ethnicity. As our world absorbs the economic, political, and social aftershocks of the pandemic, 50% or more of the 6 million people living in Cook and Lake counties have little or no savings. They are a paycheck away from zero. We are deeply grateful to everyone in the Catholic Charities community who partners with us to alleviate the suffering of the people we serve and offer them a better path forward. We are witnessing a message of mercy and hope to a world very much in need. Learn more at CatholicCharities.net.
We'll be back. We're back. We are back. WNDZ, 750 AM, Catholic Chicago, 312-255-8408. And you go to youtube.com. Maybe with so many generations of folks involved in this, maybe start with Father Rich. How has this project impacted your ministry, your priesthood?
You know, in a very significant way. I didn't realize how much this project would really impact my love for St. Mary's. I've been in the parish about 2.5 years now, and being part of this project just has kind of made me feel like I've been there 20 years, learning all this amazing history and just seeing people come together. As we were commenting earlier, just how many wonderful young people have been part of this project and, you know, giving their time and their talent and energy, and then connecting with the older parishioners and seeing these kind of multi-generations coming together to celebrate something so beautiful. And the windows, to me, just reflect back the breadth and depth of the community of saints. You know, when I see all those beautiful images of Mary and how that stained glass is, Father Greg comments, you know, the lighting just frequently changes throughout the day and through the seasons, and that light gets reflected on the priest, it gets reflected on the altar, it also gets reflected on the people. And I feel like that stained glass is kind of this beautiful, moving, alive aspect of our church that focuses on the importance of all of us.
That's a great response. You know, same question for Tony and Carrie and Jesse, beginning with Tony, though. Tony, you've been in that St. Mary of the Woods for years, so it's so easy to take those windows for granted because you see them so often. But how has this entire project, Tony, even somehow touched your life, your faith? Because I know you're a great man of faith.
Well, you know, it's given me hope seeing that there's interest out there with something having to do with the church. and then just the beauty of the windows. And again, just as Father was talking about, the way the light comes in. That's what I've through the years admired always, how the light comes in through those windows and cast beams, into the church at different places at different times. It's beautiful. And this whole project, yes, it's like it's bringing alive faith again, and I think it's bringing people together spiritually. And for me, when I would be playing the songs and knowing that the songs are representing each window, and just thinking about the beauty in that window and the beauty of the song that was going with it, I was touched as I was playing. I was touched when I was asked to do this project. I just thought, what a beautiful thing to do. And then, as I said, as I was involved, it was just a beautiful feeling. I can't express more than that. Words can't really say how I feel inside, but
now I do notice, Tony, over your right shoulder, for those that are watching on live stream, you have Our Lady of Czestochowa over your right shoulder. Am I correct? Behind your right shoulder there, the beautiful Mary there.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
It's right there, so it's hard to miss there because I grew up with that in our own home.
She's always there.
Our Lady of Czestochowa. Same question for you, Carrie, and that is, what songs did you sing for this whole project?
I recorded piano and flute for Hail Holy Queen, for Lady of Our Czestochowa, and Hail Mary Gentle Woman. And I actually had two of my previous students that are now in high school and college come back and sing for Hail Mary Gentle Woman. And it's just fulfilling to me to know that I am bringing kids that I have known for 10 years back into church and making sure that they are still connecting with their faith.
And along those same lines, the fact that you are the teacher in the grammar school for music for the children, the first time you walked into the church, I'm sure you were overwhelmed by the beauty of the windows.
Yes, it was unbelievable.
Yeah. The first time I walked
I was
in,
also on crutches after a surgery, so that was also helped me remember that same moment.
Really? Just to the
You're
first.
fine now, though. Everything's fine.
You dropped your
Yes,
crutches,
I'm
yeah.
good.
And that's how about for you, Jesse?
Yeah, I think this was just a beautiful project to be a part of. The church had been there for me. I used to work at St. John Brebeuf as well. I grew up going to there for preschool through 8th grade.
Wow.
And so being able to be a part of a project to sort of give something back to the church after all these years, it felt really good to just be a part of. Definitely a growing experience for me personally as well. And like Tony was saying, it's great to make something like this where it can engage younger people who might not have much of a jumping off point to learning anything, or people who have grown up in this parish wondering what all the different depictions of Mary are about, what the story is behind them. So I think it's a great thing to have to sort of bring members of the parish from all ages together.
When you were at St. John Brebeuf, was Father Mike Meany your pastor in grammar school?
No, I actually was there while Father Tom May was pastor.
Oh,
high
sure.
School,
In fact, he's
into high school.
same high
Father
school.
Meany was there.
Yeah, exactly. Father Tom May and I went to the same high school, but he's much younger. And and of course, Father Mike Meany was ordained a year after me. Two wonderful priests. Mark, you have a question?
I do. It's off topic, but it's for Carrie. Being in the school with the little ones and having impact with music. Either is there any story you'd want to share, or what? I mean, the music will change kids' lives. I mean, they will. So I'm just curious about your involvement in the school.
So I have two stories about that. One directly with the windows. We did the screening with junior high 6 through 8, and we watched the background of Max, Ingrid, the Our Lady of Lourdes, and Our Lady of Knock. And it was really interesting to me for the kids that have been to Our Lady of Knock, and they sharing their experience of visiting that site and making that connection with, this is the window of Our Lady of Knock in our own home parish.
Beautiful.
And the second is with the little ones. Anyone can sing any song. It's just how you present it. So with the littlest ones, we learn the refrains of whatever songs we're singing at Mass. And they might be only 8 or 9 words, but they can actively participate in Mass because we are singing the greatest song ever. Our Day of Lenten Journey is what we're working on now, the refrain, because we're in Lent, and and that is our closing song for multiple weeks during our Wednesday Masses.
Beautiful.
I think it's wonderful. And also then, Rich, for a moment, is when that parishioner said to you, one of your legacies will be leaving this production behind, but which means you can go on YouTube, flip on any of these segments, and learn about the particular windows. But then the work, it also gets me, all the people we've had on the program today, many are so youthful, and they're so energized and excited to have done this project, which really, in a sense, fires me up. But somehow you've left a legacy for future generations, because the windows are such a part of St. Mary of the Woods. Now, of course, I always say, meaning the people, you are the church, together we are the body of Christ. But the windows are just, I've had more people say to me when I was there for the 18 years, they love the windows. It helped express their faith in a very quiet, peaceful way.
Absolutely.
Now it's a beautiful rendition, the video. But have you thought about, have people, because of the video, maybe asked to come and see the windows? And have you thought ever about maybe a tour of the windows as part of the life of the parish?
That's an interesting idea. I have not thought of that, but I think that would be a great thing to offer the larger community of the Archdiocese.
Wouldn't it be great?
Absolutely.
I think it'd be wonderful. And then, but don't forget, Greg wants his picture in the lobby, so you start there and then you do the tour.
In the gym.
I think it's world-class art.
Yeah.
Right in the Edgebrook neighborhood, and it should be shared. It should be shared.
Just in closing, if someone wants to learn more about the series, how can they watch it? Anybody can tell us? Either Jesse or Tony or Carrie or Father Rich. In words, if you go to St. Mary of the Woods, what's your website?
I believe it's St. Mary of the Woods.
.com?
Yeah.
Okay.
I Googled St. Mary of the Woods windows, and it came up.
Okay. So if you Google St. Mary of the Woods windows, and folks watch production, so I want to thank in a very special way, because we're out of time, Father Rich Jakubek, the outstanding pastor of St. Mary of the Woods, and also join us this last half hour, Jesse Healy, Carrie Elko, and Anthony Tony Kolokovsky. Thank you for being on the program this morning. It's been fantastic.
Yes,
also,
thank you.
special thanks to co-host Mark Teresi. Great work of our producer engineers, Clinton Cottrell and Michael May. To our listeners, may God bless all of you. Continued Lenten blessings. Amen.
Amen.
What Max Ingrand created for St. Mary of the Woods were these floor-to-ceiling stained glass walls of forest. Yet scattered throughout these woods are 8 depictions of the Blessed Mother.
Try to envision yourself in the prayer.
Each version of Mary represents a different spiritual devotion practiced by Catholics for many centuries.
And you notice she's also in red, which is very, very unusual for an image of Mary. We always know that most images of Mary have her in her blues, but here to stress the idea of the agony of our Lord, the symbol of sorrow, of pain, of suffering, is very apropos.
Because people weren't really praying the rosary in those days. What did God say? He sent his mother to help us, huh? He sent his mother to help us.